always tell this story about Larry Bird. I remember him, he was cursing under his breath. And I asked him, I said, Larry, what's going on with you? He says, you guys are being disrespectful to me. And I says, what are you talking about? He says, you guys are putting a white guy on me. That's disrespectful.
Wait, who's the white guy you put on him?
I can't remember who it was. I just started laughing. I had no comeback. When he says, it's disrespectful when y'all put a white guy on me.
A three-time NBA champion, two-time finals MVP, three-time league MVP, averaging a career 24 points per game, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. We're talking about none other than Larry Bird, the baddest white dude to ever play in the NBA. Now, if you wonder why he's standing in a bush, well, I couldn't quite find the correct shorts to wear, so we had to buy these NBA Finals shorts, and it just looks weird because it's, Lakers Celtics, which is cool, but Larry wearing purple and gold, it just doesn't look right. He's always in that Celtic green. But I don't know what's going on with 2K. They're not releasing new jerseys, really. They're not really releasing new shorts, so I couldn't get the Celtics shorts, and this is the best thing I could do. I could wear the Celtics warm-up pants, but it was, I wasn't really feeling it. Now, the build we're using today is a stretch 4. Now, I wasn't really planning on making it a Larry Bird video because, I feel like the stretch 4, it has the rebounding, the shooting of Larry Bird, the height of Larry Bird, but it doesn't really have the ball handling. Not that he was like a big-time dribble guy, but he could handle the ball and create space for himself. But after playing on the build for a little bit, I was like, you know what? Even though it only has a 55 ball control, I'm able to do a little something with it using the hesitation and the crossovers. I'm able to create my own shot. So I think I could make a nice little Larry Bird video from this. Now, it does have shot creating takeover. It probably should have sharp, but honestly, you go watch some Larry Bird highlights. He's shooting off balance shots all day. So shot creating is not a bad idea. You see the badges here. I put on back down Punisher just because, it has a 99 post fade. So I was thinking if I need to post up, I could back him down and then shoot the little fade. We get 30 shooting badges on a stretch 4. We're going to talk about the stretch 4 a little bit because it gets hated on a lot this year, and it's just, we'll talk about it a little bit. But as you can see, we got on a ton of Hall of Fame badges. We got silver slippery off ball just in case we need to dex and kind of get away from our defender and get open. For the playmaking, I put on quick first step on bronze. That's going to help some of the clips you're going to see in the video. And then we only get 3 defensive badges, but it is what it is. I know the badges might not look exactly as you would think of Larry Bird because, listen, you're not going to be able to make these NBA legends exactly. I say it all the time, but what we're looking for is a build that can play similar to how these legends played. 99 overall Larry Bird. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's first start talking about what this video was originally planning on being. Like I said, I wasn't going to do a Larry Bird video. That wasn't the goal. I just wanted to hop on a stretch big, and as you're going to see, unfortunately, this stretch big is left-handed. I know Larry Bird was right-handed, but we got the look down and all that. It's just the hand is opposite. I know usually I really care about the details, and I always want to have the correct-handed player, but like I said, I wasn't planning on doing a Larry Bird video, but as you're going to see, he still looks and plays exactly like Larry Bird. Honestly, Larry Bird could probably shoot this well with his left hand. That's how goated this dude was. We'll talk about Larry in a second. What I want to talk about is stretch bigs. Now, the stretch big build, obviously, if you guys didn't play 2K19 or, my new subscribers that didn't know about me in 2K19, my main player was a stretch big. I hit 99 on a stretch big last year, and then I'm going to be honest with you, I never really played on him again after I hit 99. I ran on my pure point forward for the rest of the year because it was way more fun. But last year, you could do a lot more with stretch bigs. At least that's what I was told. A lot of people that started 2K20 with a stretch big deleted them within the first couple weeks because they were saying how broken they were and it just weren't good. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the badge count, you guys saw it, like 3 defensive badges, 1 playmaking badge. I'm sure you could alter it a little bit to try to get a couple more badges, but the badge count is trash. Like, the build looks complete dumpster. But honestly, playing on it, it wasn't too bad. Like, first of all, obviously, you get 30 shooting badges, a 90-something three-pointer, and this build, I believe, is 6'11". Shout out to my boy, LK Bilbo. I think that's how you say it, for letting me borrow his account, man. I always appreciate when you guys reach out and say, do you want to try this build? And if I feel I can make a video from it, I definitely, appreciate it, and I hop on and do my thing. But playing on this build, it wasn't bad. Like, as you can see, it's not like I was just a spot up the whole time. I'm using a little hesitations, getting open, shooting big greens from 3. I feel like you can do some things, and then having the shot creator takeover, I didn't really experiment too much with the hop steps and stuff, but obviously you're going to be able to get ankle breakers with that shot creator takeover and do that type of stuff. So it's like, you can do things. Look at this, shooting over people. But I can see where the frustration was for people that were stretches in 2K19. Then they made one in 2K20 and called it trash, because honestly, the stretch big in 2K19 was really, really effective. Like, it was one of the most effective builds in the game. And I could see why people were, looking at the stretch big in 2K20 saying, they're trash, because honestly, there's no comparison on in terms of overall play and overall what you can do, the animations you could get, the badges you can get, etc. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think stretch bigs were ever meant to play the way they played in 2K18, 2K19, where people are ISOing and being dribble gods on stretch bigs. I don't think that was ever intended. Honestly, this is more of what stretch bigs are supposed to be. Yeah, they're tall, so they're decent defenders in the paint, decent rebounders, but they're basically spot up shooters. That's what the build, I think, is intended to do. And in past years, people just found a way to abuse it, and this year there is really no way. Now, as you can see, in terms of catching and shooting, spotting up, being a spot up build, letting your guard ISO, I mean, this build is ridiculously good. Anytime they give you space, it's going to be cash. And even if they, contested a little, I mean, you saw the first game, even when they contested me a little bit, using the jump shot that I'm using, I'm jumping right over them. I'm tall, and my jump shot, I elevate high. I'm shooting over people, for the most part, pretty consistently. But anyways, let's talk about Larry Bird for a second, how this build I felt like represented him. Now, Larry Bird, one of the greatest shooters in NBA history. I mean, he was shooting threes in an era where threes weren't really, it wasn't really a popular shot. Like, nowadays, the three-pointer is everything. Back then, it was like a commodity. Like, you didn't use it very often, and he was a very consistent three-point shooter. Now, people that have never seen Larry Bird play, I feel like we were just talking about, the stretch big is a good spot-up shooter build. And of course it is, and Larry Bird was a good spot-up shooter, but it's like people think that's all Larry Bird was. People, go watch, you could even watch some highlights, but if you sit down and actually watch games of Larry Bird, the dude was insane, man. His IQ was on a whole nother level. He was a shot maker. He could create a shot. He wasn't, between the legs, behind the back, spin move, heads. Like, he wasn't like a Kyrie dribbler. I'm not saying that, but he could create his own shot. He was a legendary trash talker. Look up Larry Bird trash talking stories, man. He was one of the best, if not the best, trash talkers in NBA history. There's stories of him literally telling his defender what he was going to do. He'll catch the ball and be like, listen, I'm going to catch the ball. I'm going to pump fake. I'm going to take 2 dribbles to my right, and I'm going to shoot a fadeaway in your face. And he would do it. And this is against NBA players, the best basketball players on the planet. He's telling them what he's going to do, and he's doing it and knocking down the shot. He was clutch. I mean, one of the greatest free throw shooters in NBA history. Clutch shooter, game winners, shots to tie the game. And the thing that's like underrated about Larry is obviously, he wasn't the most athletic player. You watch him, he looks kind of slow, kind of stiff, but his instincts and just his IQ of the game, he would anticipate things. He would come up with timely steals. He would just beat people to the spot. For a non-athletic guy to average 10 rebounds a game in an era where there was legit centers and legit power forwards on the floor, not stretch 4s and stretch 5s. We're talking about interior players. This dude averaged 10 boards a game for his career, 24 points, 10 boards, and 6 assists, man. Like, those are crazy career averages. That's not his best season. That's career averages. 3-time league MVP, 3-time champion. Larry Bird did a lot in his time. Unfortunately, towards the end of his career, he started to have the back problems and stuff. But you go watch highlights of Larry Bird, man. The dude was on another level. Now, the reason I wasn't planning on doing a Larry Bird video was because first I was just thinking, okay, I've never played on a stretch this year. All I've heard about is how bad stretches are. Let me try it out for myself and see what I can do. But as soon as I started playing, I was like, yo, I can create my own shot. Like, people were talking about stretches like they couldn't do anything. Look at, between the legs, behind the back, get to the basket, get the lay-in. You've already seen hezzy, crossover, pull up in somebody's face. I was like, yo, I can create my own shot. And honestly, the fact that my ball control is so low, it kind of makes it look more like Larry Bird. I go for the fade. I end up missing it. But it kind of makes it look more like Larry Bird because Larry Bird didn't have a flashy game. He just found a way to get to his spot, and he was a shot maker. You know what it kind of reminds me of is you watch Luka Doncic now, right? Obviously Luka, this is 30, 40 years since Larry Bird played, so the game has evolved, and his style, his swag is different. But the way Luka is, he's not super athletic, but he just has a way to get to his spot, and he's a shot maker. Larry Bird was much in the same. Like, he would just get to his spot and knock down shots. So once I realized I could play similar to Larry and it had the height to be Larry, I was like, you know what? I could give you the best of both worlds. We could talk about the stretch bigs, comparing them from 19 to 20, and we could have a nice little 99 overall Larry Bird video, man. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new. We'll be back with another video very shortly. I'm out. Peace.